Alright guys, so, let me adjust that real quick here. Cool stuff. Breeding fee update. In 24 hours, we will update the Axie breeding fee. The AXS costs per breed have been reduced from 2 AXS to 1. The SLP costs per breed have been increased. Details in the article. Breed count. For single breed, it's 600 SLP. Hey, Jonard Gonzalez, thank you so much for the follow, my man.
Thanks.
2 is 900 SLP, 3 is 1500, 4 2400, then 3900, 6300, and 10 200. Wow. The growth of the Axie Infinity community has been incredible. Thanks to each and every one of your contributions. We value your commitment to our community, and we want you to feel a sense of ownership of what we've all built together. Some of you have voiced confusion, worry, and frustration, even frustration with the current volatility of the economy. We recognize that this volatility makes it hard for our community members to value their efforts consistently. Hopefully by the end of this update, you'll better understand that our occasional economic adjustments are our attempt to consistently reward skill and effort while balancing community and player growth. Let's start with a couple of the core Axie economic concepts. Here we go, guys. This is important. The only way SLP can be created is through gameplay. That is key, guys. This requires interaction. This requires interaction between you and me, player versus player, like people interacting with each other. This is what creates value. This is what creates energy. This is what... I agree. Each SLP is the result of effort and skill. The only way Axie can be created is by burning SLP. Each Axie is proof that a human played Axie Infinity for a certain amount of time. That's correct, because Axies cannot be created out of thin air. When there are new players to Axie, the only way they can play is if there are more Axies available than there are players. This means that we need to think about the future economy, or the future demand shocks to the Axie market and SLP when balancing the economy. Ensuring long-term sustainability for the economy will rely on a combination of player growth, new sources of demand for Axies, and external organizations subsidizing play to earn by sponsoring leaderboard seasons, tournaments, and more. So basically, they're interested in having more people starting to host and provide the spirit of competition, which is great because the more people that are interested in competing, the more people that are engaging with each other. And this is great for breeders too, believe it or not, because breeders, where do you think competitive Axies, like the ones I'm playing right now, for example, where do you think they come from? They come from breeders. Real quick, I want to give a quick little shout out to Dark Roamer 1 of Lunasia Academy. I want to go ahead and plug his name out there. He is a pro master breeder. You guys should definitely go out. Follow him on Twitter if you aren't already. Shoot a little link down there in the chat, which you'll be able to see up here. And also go to his YouTube channel, Lunasia Academy. Subscribe to his videos, give him a watch, like, comment. Real big kudos and shout out to him. If you're interested in diving deeper into our economic model, take a look at these two articles for further context. Okay. Yeah, we've seen these. The Axie economy needs to be balanced by rewarding everyone's immediate efforts while supporting a long-term plan for community growth. There are some considerations that can be hard for some of our community members to grasp. You know what? I just gotta say real quick, as an aside, this is the most detailed update they've given in a little bit. Community members to grasp, especially if they've only recently started their Axie journey. So this means during the big boom we saw a couple months ago. Many players that are new to Axie have expectations of the in-game economy that are unrealistic and would not be conducive to long-term growth. You don't want to grow too fast. You don't want to grow too fast and too big. Axie's growth is cyclical, which means we need to take into account both current and future demand for Axies when we make economic adjustments. While our veterans have seen these cycles many times before, such as when Axie prices dropped from 1 ETH to 0.002 ETH in 2019, it can be a little unnerving for newer players. Our growth projections for 2022 suggests that we will require tens of millions of Axies for the future of onboarding rush that we expect with the launch of our Ronin decks and Battles version 2. Historically, whenever we've launched features that have reduced friction and increased utility for Axies, we have seen a surge of breeding to account for the increased demand from Axies, from both new players and veterans alike. If we don't have enough SLP to meet this upcoming surge in demand, we will have a situation where the price of SLP surges very high initially to meet demand, but then crashes back down as growth normalizes and more SLP is created by players. One could even argue that SLP issuance was too low in the pre-Ronin era. This created a massive surge in SLP price that was short-lived and ultimately caused unrealistic expectations around the Axie economy. All of that said, we don't want this growth planning to disrupt your current efforts. We've been looking at data around the Axie breeding economy for weeks now, and this is what we've observed. Okay guys, check this out. We've got data. We've got data. The red here is the SLP supply that has been burned, and then there's the SLP supply that has been minted, with the yellow line of the, being the total SLP supply, which means more SLP has been generated and minted than has actually been burned. So growth, while still strong, has been slowing down due to concerns over imbalance in the amount of SLP minted versus burned per day. Volatility in AXS and SLP price has caused large fluctuations in the breeding fee. AXS, as a portion of the breeding fee, has inflated, which has taken away from the SLP's utility within our economy. AXS is now 80% of the breeding fee. Yeah, I gotta tell you, AXS right now, like especially with a newcomer like me coming in trying to get into breeding, AXS being a requirement for breeding is actually a pretty steep ask. Today's breeding fee changes come as a result of these observations. We know many of you are excited about this change. We are still early in our journey, but we are learning every day. While we are currently making these changes manually, long term, we'd like to outsource management of the economy either to intelligent machines or informed members of the Axie community. We hope to ultimately implement an auto-balancing system that will adjust the AXS and SLP portions of the breeding fee to be both stable in dollar fiat terms and in relation to each other. To have an AI controlled breeding cost? Okay. Interesting. This is a bit harder technically, but something that we hope to roll out in the future, at least for now, as we experiment with creating a new digital economy. More active management from Sky Mavis may be required. You know, yeah, that's gonna be quite the challenge. But you know what? If you have faith, and if Sky Mavis hires the right people, they can get it done. What I suspect will happen is it's good that they acted, but what I suspect will happen is the cost of SLP will, like the actual value of SLP will rise, at least in the short term. There's going to be people out there that will see this as probably like a band-aid fix though. So what we really need to do, this is good as a short-term fix, but what we really need to do is implement more burning mechanisms, which I believe will come in the form of Battles version 2, and land gameplay. And there's also been a lot of talk and rumors about there being ways to burn Axies. Yeah, burn Axies so that you could basically retire an Axie and then use that Axie to create components that you can use on your current ones, or the Axies you actually want to use, equipment and gear, get things like that. So that will probably come out with version 2, Battles 2. Exciting stuff, guys. Really exciting stuff. This update, wow. It's not a balance patch yet. It's not a balance update. This isn't a balance update, but you know what? The thing about it is, at least we're getting something. At least they're actually reaching out to the community. So major kudos to them. Major kudos to them. This is looking bright. This is looking very bright for Axie Infinity.